What's up guys, welcome back. This is anime fiction. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Killed by an Anbu, Becoming a Hollow Part 16. Now, let's begin. A vibrant display of carmine flames flickered energetically, their intense glow enveloping the remnants of ashes that occupied the expansive underground chamber. As each flame diminished, the ash-covered ground was nearly 50 meters engulfed by the earth's depths. Naruto hovered in the center of the chamber, attired in the spiritual garments of his Arankar form. A delicate chain, forged from Nami's flames, encircled him with a sense of intimate possession. It formed a pathway ascending to his neck, ultimately tightening into a black blindfold. The crimson gem positioned on his forehead radiated brilliantly, complementing the carmine theme before gradually dimming to a subtle glow. Hollow's evolution, Arankar Resurrection form, complete, has been successfully attained. Astonishment was evident in his voice as he remarked, "That was something." Attaining one of the most formidable abilities of Hollow's instilled in him a profound sense of both apprehension and excitement. His hand brushed against the blindfold, prompting Nami to focus her abilities on him, potentially restoring the power that was rightfully his. "I will hold my Resurrection in reserve as my strategic advantage." The demon god should exercise his authority with careful consideration. He expressed complete agreement with Nami. The force field surrounding him had scarcely contained his Reiatsu, even though he diligently restricted his output to his maximum capacity. The simple act of unleashing his Reiatsu had the potential to devastate the town above. With his Resurrection activated, he could harvest human lives with greater efficiency than a farmer harvesting wheat. He embodied the relentless force of mortality. What perplexed him was that this immense power was not even the final evolution of his hollow form. The system still indicated two additional evolutions. One of these is Segunda Etapa, the ability that Ulquiorra demonstrated during his confrontation with Ichigo. The other aspect remained entirely enigmatic. Nami, how incredibly strong was Soul King? A dismembered torso acts as a central point connecting three vast domains. Fragments of his essence generate artifacts that can manipulate reality to bring forth one's most profound aspirations. His right and left hand, though separated, competes with the most formidable forces. His self-proclaimed son possesses the capability to glimpse into future timelines and manipulate them. That should provide you with a solid estimate. Mastering the cycles of existence, including life, growth, death, and rebirth, he murmured. "I hope my assumptions about my origin are incorrect. Your expectations are misguided, partner. I am quite frustrated." With a deliberate motion, he brushed his cheek, directing his attention toward Yoruichi and Lisa, who were positioned near the exit door. "It is now secure." With her expertly honed shunpo, Yoruichi positioned herself before him, firmly grasping his shoulders. "You are no longer in pain," she exhaled, a sense of relief washing over her before the recollection of his Resurrection surfaced, leading her to gently tap his chin. "I experienced a moment of profound loss. What was that tree doing to me?" Even while shielding herself with her Reiatsu, she found herself momentarily ensnared by his Resurrection ability. Unwise feline. She is unaware that she was at her most vibrant when linked to the tree of false samsara. He had scarcely utilized his Resurrection, and Nami had already devised a Chunin name. "Yoruichi, that was my Resurrection. I can provide no further information at this moment." His Resurrection posed significant risks, so significant that the royal guard could potentially pursue him. Despite his trust in Yoruichi, disclosing his Resurrection ability could potentially alter her perception of him. Yoruichi furrowed her brows, recognizing the deliberate avoidance in his explanation. "If your Resurrection is so completely absurd, why not simply confront Aizen in a duel?" He declined with a shake of his head. "On a level playing field, his combat abilities significantly surpass my own." He clicked his tongue, a hint of bitterness evident. "These individuals have no right to exceed the accomplishments of thousand-year-old soul reapers through mere talent. That is completely unacceptable." Yoruichi expressed her exasperation with a roll of her eyes. "You have quite the intriguing backstory yourself. Deceived, reborn, and now working to protect the Soul Society from the individual who took your life." Diverting his gaze from her playful scrutiny, he focused on Lisa, noting the unexpected calmness in her behavior. Maid-chan, is there something troubling you? Nami expressed her thoughts, indicating that she was likely contemplating the agreement to your idea. Maintain her presence in your life. Your capability serves as an advantage in the evolution of hollows. For that flawed capability, I bestow upon you the title of the Infernal Lord and the Master of Samsara. At what point did I transition from being the Prince of Hollows to the Master of Samsara? When you harnessed the formidable power of demonic phoenix to assert dominance over Samsara. Single quote. With a poised leap, Lisa descended to their level, yet a careful distance remained between them. His hollow form evoked a sense of hesitation within her, yet he persisted in his current state. Lisa addressed Yoruichi with a steady gaze and indicated the ground with a pointed gesture. I will ensure that you are held accountable for this. Please ensure Urahara is brought in to address the issue before others arrive. Yoruichi turned to face her, a look of confusion evident in her eyes. Excuse me, what sets me apart? You witnessed him doing this firsthand. You are friends with him, Lisa asserted, her glasses reflecting a fleeting light as she made an adjustment. Friends support one another. Naruto's hand rested gently on Yoruichi's shoulder, his touch as subtle as the whisper that accompanied it. Yoruichi, I requested your permission for the release. You share equal responsibility in this matter. They presented compelling arguments to portray Yoruichi as guilty, despite her complete innocence. She was aware that she was being manipulated, yet she found herself without an opportunity to advocate for her position. Very well, Yoruichi conceded with a sigh, gently removing his hand from her shoulder. I will retrieve Urahara. It was a significant opportunity to support the individual who was risking his life for her mission. The Flash Goddess promptly departed from the visored base. She approached him with caution, every sense heightened and muscles tensed, as if navigating an unfamiliar environment. Activating his resurrection had an effect on her or the hollow within her. Naruto, I would like you to accompany me to meet Izumi. The rationale behind her decision to assign the responsibility to Yoruichi became evident. He wore a subtle smile, his eyes enigmatic beneath the blindfold. Understood. The sound of creaking. The wooden door opened gracefully, allowing an autumn breeze and the sound of rustling leaves to enter. In the frame stood a silhouette that Izumi found both peculiar and hauntingly familiar. She felt a surge of warmth, her heart racing with excitement. Her hands, resting by her sides, exhibited a slight twitch. Her lips trembled, separating gently. The illumination changed as Naruto advanced, his features becoming clearer. She observed changes in him, subtle like slight increases in his height and significant like his cropped hair. In the moment between heartbeats, Izumi's hands discovered the courage that her voice could not express. They elevated themselves, extended their hands, and made contact with him. The tactile sensations of contact, skin, and fabric anchored him firmly in reality, preventing him from drifting into a potential dream. He was present alongside her. She embraced him without hesitation, inhaling his familiar scent. Younger brother, supporting her trembling and tearful figure, he gently rubbed her back. I have returned. Partner, you were acquainted with her for a duration of approximately 2 weeks. Isn't her reaction somewhat excessive? It felt as though she had been reunited with a son she had not seen in many years. It represents the connection of genuine siblings. No, partner. Izumi raises significant concerns, I must emphasize. I do not observe any issues. The complexities of love. I am unable to take any action, as it may lead to a conflict with Aurora. Naruto took a seat in the inviting living room of Izumi's apartment, which, while not as opulent as her expansive mansion, offered a warm atmosphere. The bookshelves filled to capacity with provocative literature, the carefully curated artwork, and a variety of decorative items contributed to a warm and inviting ambiance in the space. Izumi entered with poise, presenting a tray embellished with cups of matcha green tea and sweet bean paste snacks, a selection of his most cherished Japanese delicacies. As she placed the tray down, she suppressed a yawn that nonetheless slipped out. I apologize for that, dear Odoto-kun, I hope you find great enjoyment. I would be pleased to accept. In that moment, you find yourself content and fulfilled. Naruto disregarded the internal dialogue and raised the steaming cup to his lips, appreciating the complex bitterness of the matcha. What activities have you been engaged in recently? Izumi furrowed her brow, appearing briefly absorbed in contemplation. Karakura town has experienced a period of tranquility. The momentary shift in her gaze indicated a falsehood. Overcome with remorse regarding her dishonesty, she took a basket of fresh fruit and began to slice an apple. Is there anything further you would like to discuss? He inquired for pertinent information, anything to encourage her to moderate her pace and prioritize her well-being. Azumi's lips formed a gentle smile. Let us proceed. I have been honing my blood abilities and various techniques. The outcomes have been advantageous to date. I joined a boxing, taekwondo, and judo club to enhance my understanding of martial arts. Everything is progressing well at this stage. Observe her evident happiness. We should not take that happiness away from her. I have received information indicating that you are not allowing yourself sufficient rest and may be overextending your efforts. Lisa. Her gaze became focused immediately. She often exhibits a tendency to worry excessively. Please observe, Ododo-kun, do I appear to be lacking in rest? With a sweeping gesture, she assumed a dramatic pose, radiating assurance. Her experience in the high school drama club had equipped her with the skills to convincingly portray various roles. I find that hard to believe, he stated. You have yawned 4 times in the 30 minutes since my arrival. There are faint dark circles beneath your eyes. Your eyes seem to lack the vibrant energy they once possessed. He observed these telltale signs the moment he entered, and now was the ideal time to reveal them, to demonstrate that he valued her enough to recognize even the most subtle details. Surprised, Azumi's hand instinctively moved to her eyes, resulting in the knife clattering onto the table. Ododo-kun demonstrates keen observation skills. As is expected, he replied, particularly in relation to family. She exhaled softly before shaking her head. It is important for you to understand my responsibilities. I must fulfill this duty, as a true Quincy. I need to provide them with direction. Once more, Izumi, what you are attempting cannot be accomplished independently. I am not alone, correct, Ododo-kun. She extended her hand and took hold of his hands. I have you covered. Together, we can cultivate opportunities for a more promising future. Simply proceed by. He gently closed his eyes and firmly grasped her hands. I will assist you with all other matters, but not this one. It may be worth contemplating the option of relinquishing your efforts. It wounded him deeply to say those things. At the same time, she needed to hear the harsh reality from someone. It was time to wake up from her dream of restoring the Quincy race outside of Wandenreich. Azumi's eyes widened in terror, as if her entire world had suddenly crumbled. She leaned back against her chair, threw her head back awkwardly, and covered her face with her palm. Ha 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 ha. Her hysterical laughing boomed around the room, the kind Naruto would expect from lunatics. She is broken. Her laughter warped into a mangled jumble before giving way to sobs, tears streaming down her cheeks. I expected something different from you after all this time. It's my fault for drawing you into my world, isn't it? I am an unworthy sister and a shame to Quincy. I deserve to die. She quickly uncovered her face and went for a kitchen knife that glinted ominously on the table. She lifted it to her throat. His reiatsu erupted in response to the catastrophe. In an instant, he sprang forward, yanking the knife from her grip. Even without the blade in her hand, her motion to cut her throat persisted in a stupor, a sobering reminder of the severity of her suicidal intention. Azumi's eyes blinked in amazement, focusing on the knife in his grasp. I've failed my parents, ancestors, and everyone. I have failed as a Quincy. I do not have the right to exist anymore. Let me die. He quickly arrived behind her with Harenkyaku and smacked her head with just enough force to knock her out. He caught her falling form and took her to the bedroom, gently setting her down on the bed. Sitting by the bedside, he let out a deep sigh. Life is more than just an old family custom. When will you understand that? He couldn't comprehend how things had escalated. They had been spending a fairly tranquil time over tea, and then she was holding a knife to her throat, determined to terminate her life. It was as if her entire self-worth was linked to her role as a Quincy. When she lost her purpose, she made a drastic decision. The cultists' mindset. They put everything they have into their faith, and when it fails, they don't want to live anymore. Cult involvement rarely ends well. I hope it's just an emotional meltdown caused by extreme stress. Most likely. We will know when she wakes up. Lisa seemed quite off about her. Izumi is a ticking time bomb. Can't blame Lisa. Nami clicked her tongue and stated, Izumi was not like that until you told her to give up. Please exercise caution when dealing with this individual, partner. Some inappropriate comments will drive her deeper into sorrow or make her dependent on you. Both have horrible endings. Get the genuine ending. I turned my cultist sister into a yandere and added her to my ever-growing harem. He gently caressed Izumi's face and whispered, I won't let anything happen to you. I forgot you were the yandere here. Realizing he needed to alert Tyr of the change in plans, his heart fell at the notion of leaving Izumi alone, even for a second. Nami, could you please report this to Apache? Tell them not to worry. My brain hurts when I'm away from you. Please, Nami, I can't take my eyes off her. Rawr. Fine. Just because you asked. Only as the sky turned orange did Izumi awaken from her 7-hour slumber. Something told Naruto that this was the greatest sleep she'd had in 3 months without him. The fatigue that had covered her face appeared to have subsided. He took her hand in his and gently helped her sit. Izumi looked back at him, her eyes welling with tears as they fixed on him. Ototo-kun, her voice wavered, colored with regret. I'm very sorry. What I did was unforgivable. Don't worry about it. All that sleeping should have made you hungry. She hesitated and then nodded. A bit. I'll go prepare. No. You stay put. I will get something for you. Before she could object, he left the room. During her long sleep, he had thrown out every harmful instrument, including a needle, from the bedroom. Nonetheless, he returned to her side as soon as possible, with a glass of milk and some beautifully sliced fruits. You were a bad brother. Shut up. I didn't have time to prepare a gourmet lunch. Even if I gave you 3 hours, your food would still taste like a freshly brewed disaster. In my defense, I have so many talented lovers who can do it for me. He served Izumi the healthiest lunch and watched as she accepted it without inquiry, sipping the milk before returning the glass to the table. Ototo-kun, I'm grateful for everything, but you really should leave. Not happening. She chuckled quietly. You should have warmed the milk. Cold milk sucks. She looks better. Ototo-kun. She unfurled the blanket that surrounded her and moved closer to fall into his arms. Let me feel your warmth. He remained mute, allowing her to seek comfort in her own manner. Though his voice had a naturally calming sound, he chose not to rely on it in this delicate moment. It was preferable to organically solve her psychological problems than to hypnotize her. I tried, she said quietly after a while. I attempted to persuade women of our ethnicity in several places across Japan. Neither of them agreed with my proposal. I promised them money, safety, and a bright future, but they scoffed at me for clinging to an old dream. They stated that they were having a fulfilling existence as humans and would never let their children to become Quincy. Never, ever. Her stress increased as a result of her immense duty, her hunt for Quincy, and her inability to persuade any Quincy to join her dream. She kept out hope for Naruto, believing that he would always be a supporter. When he ordered her to quit up, everything came tumbling down around her, and her heart broke. As they cuddled together, Izumi's voice quivered with intense curiosity. Ototo-kun, I don't understand why they detest us. We are honorable in protecting the planet from hollows and shielding innocents from evil powers beyond their understanding. Why should we be exterminated for a crime committed by our ignorant forefathers? It was not a crime. They attempted to destroy the balance, which could have resulted in the end of the world. That is not all. Another conflict sprang out between Quincy and Shinigami 900 years ago, headed by the progenitor, Quincy's father. He did not side with Quincy or Shinigami. However, he had to put an end to Izumi's insane devotion to the misguided cause of Quincy. Her hands twitched on his chest. Are you speaking of the Sealed King? He was not a legend. He existed, and he waged a fight to end the Gote 13. A full-fledged war that took countless lives. He must have a... No, He wanted to unite the three worlds, he murmured. Remove the idea of death. Do you understand what that means? If he had succeeded, every living person would have died. She let out a surprised gasp. Horrifying. Can you tell me where you learned this? A few months ago, he could hardly pronounce Quincy. Now he mentioned a battle that even her parents were unaware of. Ask Soken about it. He knows more about this than I do. Soken-san. Her arms tightened around him, and her face sank into his chest. I'll believe you. To answer your question, why would the world wish to destroy Quincy? It is not them. The Quincy, at least the sane ones, don't want to risk their lives fighting hollows, and they don't see the point in being punished by Shinigami for disturbing the equilibrium. Aside from that, do you believe a sane mother would willingly raise her child for such a perilous occupation? With passion and kindness, he attempted to fill her head with rationality, unwittingly branding Izumi's mother insane in the process. Her face leaned upward, her eyes gleaming with unresolved emotion. Will you stay tonight? Of course. Do you want me to cook something? She laughed. Never. I will do the honor. He permitted her to enter the kitchen, but he was there to oversee her. She did not mind his presence. Rather, she found his protectiveness and caring endearing, which made her grin. Ototo-kun, I wish we were true siblings. Me too. Her smile grew like a flower in the spring, becoming her most gorgeous smile to date. So it's official now. I'm Izumi Uzumaki from now on. Nighttime. The gentle creak of the door jolted Naruto out of his hazy sleep. He was still apprehensive of Izumi's intentions and was paying close attention to every sound and action. Izumi was clearly creeping into his room, her presence verified as she carefully raised the blanket and lay beside him. The fresh aroma of her moist hair suggested that she had just gotten out of the bath, and her delicate underwear added to the warmth and tenderness against him. Curious about her motivation, he kept pretending to sleep, which became increasingly difficult with her presence in his bed. Your scent is everywhere, mingling with the air I breathe, she muttered, delicately brushing her fingertips over his chest before tracing the lines of his face. If I give up, if I let go of the purpose that defines me, I'll be left in a nothingness. There will be no cause for me to greet the morning, no feelings to fill my days, neither joy nor despair. I'll turn into an empty shell, devoid of reason. It was nothing. In contrast to the severity of her remarks, her voice was full of unexplained optimism and lacked vulnerability. I'm not without purpose with you here. She reached up and pushed her lips on his face. My Ototo, my dearest, we'll honor the tradition adopted by our ancestors, we'll marry each other and start a family. Partner, you triggered the incorrect flag. Ototo-kun, do you think I should dye my hair to match you? Dyes can harm hair. You do not need them. Okay. Do I wear girly dresses or formal clothes? You look good in whatever. After all, true beauty emerges from within. He. What about my hair's length? Should I grow it or cut it even shorter, like you? You don't need to do that. Your hair looks great right now. You don't have to change for me. Because I want to. Lisa thought she had strolled into the daily routine of a couple that was in love, not the house of a divorced woman and her adoptive brother. Izumi had never been this full of life. This version of Izumi had such a contagious enthusiasm that she could make people feel better and nothing in the world could stress her out. Izumi turned her head and finally saw that Lisa had come. Welcome back, Lisa. You don't have to do any cooking or cleaning today. I did everything. What happened yesterday? Lisa said, her eyes getting bigger in surprise. Why does it feel like I missed 3 arcs and went straight to the end? Well, can I leave the explanation to you, Izumi? Of course, Ototo-kun, Izumi said in a soft voice. Lisa, I've given up on my Quincy quest. One person's work wouldn't have gotten it anywhere. Lisa looked at Naruto, who she had told to fix Izumi. He went above and beyond, which made Izumi give up on her pointless objective. She gave the work a thumbs up because it was so good. My respect and affection for you have gone beyond what a mortal can feel. From now on, I'll think of you as the best man to ever live in the 3 kingdoms. Naruto answered, thanks, with a shrug and a small smile on his face. Why not sit with us? Izumi put her elbows on the table and softly held her face in her hands. Her lovely grin was full of love. Others have moved on with their lives, looking for happiness like normal people do. Now is the time to let go of my past and welcome a new future with Ododo-kun. Lisa put her arms across her chest. I've always been against political marriages and even more against bringing Quincy back to life. Let the Shinigami do the balancing work. Izumi nodded in a trance, her eyes fixed on Naruto as if she were interested in him. Ododo-kun and I don't have to put our lives at danger. Oh, by the way, Ododo-kun, you still haven't answered my confession. I know you're thinking about how Harabel-san, Apache-san, and Sung-sun feel, but can you please get back to me soon? This uncertainty is too much for my heart. Naruto nearly spit up his coffee. Which confession are you talking about? Her lips curled up into a soft smile. Ododo-kun, don't be bad and play with my heart like that. You were wide awake when I told you how I felt. Last night when she walked into his bed, she detected the smallest changes in his reiatsu. As she talked about her feelings, the changes become even more extreme. He coughed to clear his throat. I didn't stop you because it was better to let your feelings out than keep them inside. Very true, Ododo-kun. You were really kind and nice. Kami blessed me by running into you that night. Partner, it's official. Izumi is head over heels in love with you. Because you were there at the appropriate time and place. As a harem protagonist, you should open your heart and accept her love. I did this, so I am fully responsible. Izumi might hurt himself if he turned down her new goal of living a regular life with him. You could say that he was the only reason she was alive. She might just lose it if he turns her down. If he hadn't modified her fate so much, Izumi would have lived a normal life. He also liked Izumi since she had always been nice to him. He was more than happy to pay the price of committing to her if it meant she would be happy and in his life. You're just hard to bone a yandere lady who looks like the lover you had in a prior life. Be quiet. Izumi's eyes were so full of excitement that he sighed. I won't turn you down, Izumi, as long as you're okay with the other women in my life. Her smile grew, and the thin sheen of tears that hadn't fallen yet made her eyes look like pools of emotion. I won't have any problems as long as everyone else is okay with me. Her innocence and tenderness made it seem like she would be happy as long as he paid attention to her and loved her, which might not be possible because of his job in the Soul Society. Partner, she is dangerous. If you don't pay attention to her, she might assault other people. Sung-sun, the weakest of his lovers, could easily knock Izumi down. His lovers won't get in trouble unless Izumi wakes up with some crazy new power. She will receive one. It's just a matter of time. He grinned at Izumi and ignored Nami. Nobody will bother you. I'll handle everything. Izumi bowed her head, but she didn't know what to say. Ododo-kun, my heart is beating fast. It's making me feel dizzy. She reached her arms out. Can you take me to bed? So the manipulation starts. He brought his spoilt sweetheart to her resting place, and her beautiful whispers almost made him give in. He had to use all of his courage to stop her from trying to take over his love. He had to be strong, or she would find a way to keep him with her forever. He loved her a lot, but he couldn't be with her alone. When he left the room, he saw Lisa blocking his way. She still seemed confused. I guess you and Izumi are now a thing. That seems to be the case. It's not my place to question what you decided. She shook her head. Izumi didn't anticipate anything from her last marriage, but you do. What I'm saying is don't crush her heart. I know. Good, Lisa said, and the corners of her mouth turned up in a mischievous smile. To be honest, I'm very happy. From the start, I knew this forbidden love would happen. An angry housewife takes in a very attractive stranger and then suddenly wants a divorce from her husband. It really does seem like a script that has to be written. Lisa stood with her hands on her hips and observed him with a mix of interest and amusement. Well, if I ever fall for you, our house is going to be a real mess, don't you think? But you look excited. I wonder why. Charming husband dominating his sexy wife and busty maid is a story that may or may not be my favorite erotica. She laughed. Let's put the horniness aside for now. I have a crucial question for you. When are you going back to that place? In a few days. Her face got serious. Izumi won't take your leave lightly. Ototo-kun is going away. The loud scream suddenly caught their attention. Izumi couldn't help but peek through the door to hear what they were saying. She couldn't help but come out to ask him about his leave when it came up. Naruto took her out of the room. I'm going to be gone for a month. Izumi's face turned pale, and her eyes filled with tears. She bit her lip to try to calm herself down. Have I done something wrong? Why are you going away? As soon as she thought he would leave her, she seemed to forget all of his pledges to be with her. The first stage of yandere is to tame. She will cry, complain, and do everything she can to make herself look weak so that she can control her partner. It's only the beginning of a toxic relationship that is unlike any other. Don't talk bad about my Izumi. Lisa put her hand on Izumi's shoulder. That's not how it is, Izumi-sama. He's not leaving because of you. But, Naruto kissed her forehead, and she trembled. She felt really happy as he touched her forehead with his kisses. It's part of my job that I have to travel a lot. Then take me too. I guarantee not to get in the way of your work. He didn't try to talk her into it. Instead, he leaned down and kissed her. She was weak in the knees after her first kiss. She held on to him so hard that she could have broken a normal person's spine. She rushed after him with hunger as he pulled back, her eyes glazed with want and her face burned beyond belief. Ototo, please don't make fun of me. He looked at her with softer eyes when she showed her passion. I can't take you with me, but I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Can you try to hold on for me? He kissed her again on the lips to make the thought stronger. Please, Oni-chan. Can I count on you? Of course, said Aya. She nodded, attempting to look older because she was the oldest sister. I won't cry anymore. I love you. Oh my god, you're level 5 if Izumi is level 1 yandere. He ignored Nami's compliments and gave Izumi hugs and other things she wanted. She adored hugging him for some reason. He left Izumi with Lisa after making sure she was emotionally stable. So, when are you going to tell her the truth? Not anytime soon. He could have kept Izumi in the dark indefinitely, but he didn't want to. He had to wait till Izumi's heart was mended and ready for that kind of surprise. Otherwise, the reveal might simply throw her over the brink again. Back at Naruto's house. Apache, I have a present for you. Mila Rose, Chiruchi, and Apache all watched with excitement as Naruto took the maid dress out of the suitcase. Sung-sun and Lisa made the dress, and he made other changes to it, such adding a frilly choker and lowering the neckline, all to fit Apache's style. But why this? Mila Rose asked, not sure. Apache must be able to find better dresses than this one. She'll be happier with an Ijuka's soul than this awful garment. Chiruchi murmured, you mate's fetish. He's a weird leader, that's for sure. Sung-sun snorted, you two have bad taste. For hundreds of years, people have been drawn to traditional black and white dresses that stand out. In Japan alone, they have led to thousands of divorces. Mila Rose blinked. You learned the most useless things. Naruto threw the dress at Apache. It has to do with how you've changed. That's all I can say right now. She had to accept her aspect of death all by herself. His aide can do the opposite and push her devotion side away. Apache's eyes shone. Okay. She didn't ask him why he made that choice. She pulled him into her room by taking his hand. She shut the door in his face as he sought to get in. Please wait outside. He found himself shaking his head at her unusual embarrassment. Throughout their intimate moments, he had observed her in the nude on multiple occasions. She had even participated in a threesome with Sung-sun. Please exercise patience. The unveiling is a subtle process, most effective when approached with patience. The sounds emanating from within the room heightened his anticipation. After what seemed like an extended period, Apache permitted him to open the door. He experienced a moment of surprise upon discovering her standing with her arms crossed. Her frown contrasted sharply with the maid headdress adorning her head. He became captivated by her unforeseen allure, experiencing a profound emotional connection with her. The frills and folds of her outfit conveyed a sense of innocence, sharply contrasting with her untamed, intense spirit. I am experiencing some difficulties. It represents the concept of gap mo. The juxtaposition of her delicate embellishments and her wild essence. His quiet appreciation heightened her awareness of her attire. She relaxed slightly, displaying signs of nervousness through her fidgeting. Wearing this is quite uncomfortable, she remarked, the corners of her lips turning downwards in a pout that was undeniably charming. I would appreciate it if you could refrain from staring in that manner. It appears to compliment you very well. I mean, truly exceptional, he reassured her, bridging the distance between them with a warmth in his smile. What makes this situation uncomfortable? It's simply, she began, her voice fading into a soft whisper, as though she were disclosing a vulnerability she hadn't intended to express. It feels as though I am fulfilling the role of a servant, rather than that of your partner. Despite being one of his lovers, she held her current status in high regard. It held significant importance for her. The idea of being viewed as a family maid, particularly as Sung Sun's maid, was a direct affront to her dignity. He grasped her hands firmly. You will serve as my exclusive maid. A maid exclusively dedicated to my service. He observed her closely, looking for any indication of discontent or disapproval. He would abandon the entire concept if it resulted in any discomfort for her. What he observed was the furrowing of her brow, accompanied by a look of perplexed contemplation. I ought to be furious, she murmured, a hint of disbelief in her tone as her fingers lightly brushed against her neck. However, I find myself at peace with it. What is this situation? How does this relate to my development? He gestured towards her chest. The challenge in your development is not physical but rather mental. Excuse me, please try not to be overly concerned. It will be resolved in due course. Mila Rose's departure to Hueco Mundo prompted her to reflect on her tendency towards denseness and impulsiveness in expressing hurtful remarks. Instead of addressing her emotional concerns independently, she opted to seek his assistance. Could you please clarify my responsibilities in the role of your maid? She asked, her tone reflecting both skepticism and authentic curiosity. I want to clarify that I will not be cleaning the entire mansion. His attention shifted to Apache's bed, where a soft panda was positioned against the wall. We will discuss this further once I acknowledge your cooperation. Her cheeks reddened upon the realization. I will remove these. It is important to ensure they remain clean. No, keep it on. It is ideal. Chiruchi's eyes scanned the dimly lit garage, observing Naruto as he carefully arranged layer upon layer of force fields in each corner. The moment they shared was filled with potential, and Chiruchi's thoughts gravitated towards the more ominous possibilities, contemplating whether she was being compelled to join his harem or if he might guide her down a much more sinister path and conduct experiments on her body. The mere thought elicited an involuntary shudder. It cannot be sexual in nature. Her suspicions intensified as Naruto's hands moved to his shirt, pulling it away from his torso. Chiruchi's heart pounded within her chest. Leader, you wouldn't. The leader I know isn't someone who imposes himself on women. She stepped back, her voice a blend of shock and determination. If you continue to disregard my words, I will take drastic measures. He reacted with discomfort to her accusation. Please relax, my intentions are not sexual. This is merely to protect my interests. Chiruchi's tension diminished, albeit slightly. Understood. Naruto unsheathed his Zanpakuto, initiating the intricate and intense ritual to summon his Shikai, the act of self-infliction instilling fear in Chiruchi. The luminous yellow force field contained his Reiatsu within the confines of the garage. Chiruchi was captivated, holding her breath as she sensed the increasing intensity of his Reiatsu for the first time since their initial encounter. Your progress has been remarkable, leader. Naruto's eyes reflected a dark intensity as he observed her. Chiruchi, please remain in that position and... His words faded as he transformed his Enmyaku into two muskets, the barrels aimed steadily at her chest. Allow me to take your photograph. Please hold on for a moment. Chiruchi raised a hand in a gesture of acknowledgement. What is the purpose of a Shinigami possessing firearms? Devoting a significant portion of her day to the television had provided her with a wealth of information, including insights about firearms. Due to their ease of use, A sense of resignation enveloped Chiruchi as she extended her arms in a gesture of surrender, quietly recognizing his needs above her own existence. If it brings you satisfaction, then proceed, take the necessary action. Thank you and farewell, Chiruchi, was his composed response. He discharged his weapon twice in rapid succession, and the incendiary projectile struck Chiruchi's chest. The flames consumed Chiruchi. His heart raced as the flames danced and expanded to reach the ceiling. It will be effective, partner. I assure you of my full endorsement. As Nami's comforting words resonated, the flames dissipated, revealing an impressive pair of metallic black wings that unfurled. Long, slender arms with claws extended, the individual appearing completely perplexed. L leader, my professional. Is my Zanpakuto restored? Are you not sensing it? Violet eyes that had previously been devoid of hope now displayed a sense of hesitation. Eager to uncover the truth, yet apprehensive about the possibility of disappointment. I find that hard to accept. Your Zanpakuto appears to be influencing my perceptions, presenting me with visions. I will consider forgiveness if you are honest. Kindly express it. State that I am within the influence of your Zanpakuto ability. Naruto narrowed his eyes and responded not verbally, but through a question expressed in his unwavering gaze. Chiruchi, you are a valued member of our group, my unique and intriguing friend. Do you believe I would engage in such unkind behavior towards you? However, it was impossible. The scientist himself stated that the Arrancar's Zanpakuto loses its essence when damaged during the resurrection form. Unfeasible, you assert. Are you aware of whom you are addressing? A look of understanding emerged on her face. Ah. She had entirely overlooked the fact that the individual in front of her possessed the ability to transform into Quincy, Shinigami, and Hollow. His abilities were so extraordinary that the task of restoring her Zanpakuto appeared remarkably insignificant. Less significant than her small existence in the vast expanse of the universe. As she reflected on the vastness of the universe illustrated in Sung Sun's works, her enthusiasm abruptly diminished. With a measured exhale, she deactivated her release state, reverting to a form she had not assumed for months. She experienced a sense of lightness, agility, and enhanced comfort in her foundational Arrancar form. Her Zanpakuto, a whip culminating in a substantial disc, materialized in her hands, accompanied by a surge of power. The texture of the whip's handle evoked memories of the conflicts endured in Hueco Mundo, reflecting the themes of survival and advancement within Barragan's ranks. She also reflected on the moments when she outmatched her opponents, the profound impact she left on them, and the lasting impressions of their struggles. In the past, I was able to fully embrace the thrill of overcoming my adversaries. The excitement of combat still surged within her, as recent encounters with Grimjow's crew had demonstrated, yet none equaled the intensity of her previous achievements. Thank you for your guidance and support. It brings me great satisfaction to assist a compassionate individual. Her smile appeared to be a fragile facade rather than a true expression of happiness, and it did not go unnoticed by his keen observation. It seems to me that you are not displaying happiness. She declined with a shake of her head. Are you unable to see this broad smile? Dishonesty is not becoming. Surprised and slightly embarrassed, she rubbed the back of her head, a faint flush appearing on her cheeks. I must admit, I was not being truthful. This Zanpakuto does not alter the situation in any way. Her original powers were reinstated alongside her Zanpakuto, however, they held no relevance in her present circumstances. She rarely ventured outside, ensuring her safety akin to a turtle retreating into its shell. He acknowledged her confession with a subtle nod. I understand. I apologize for disrupting the atmosphere. After you invested considerable effort to restore me, you provided me with the tranquil life I had longed for. I feel as though I am being unnecessarily difficult. I am feeling quite frustrated with myself at the moment. I am able to assist you with that. Your facial features are quite striking in a way that might provoke a strong reaction. His humor elicited a laugh from her. In my view, Sung Sun's teasing expression is the most deserving of a punch among our group. I appreciate your feedback, but I must express my discontent regarding the comments made about my wife, he said with a light-hearted tone. Could you please clarify a few points for me? What factors contribute to your dissatisfaction? No comments. She resolutely shook her head, revealing her vulnerability once again. I experience a profound sense of emptiness that leads me to believe that my actions lack significance. I am here to assist you in navigating this situation. Chiruchi appreciated his enthusiasm to assist her. It's acceptable, leader. There is no need for you to spend your time on my behalf. Chiruchi, I won't express that I consider you to be my entire world. I find you physically appealing, but my feelings for you do not compare to those I have for Tyr or even Rose. I am aware. However, I genuinely care about you, he stated with a smile. As Rose's closest friend and a valued member of my team, I would like to dedicate a day to taking care of you. It would reflect poorly on me if I were to refuse your request, she whispered. I assured you I would provide it a day in advance. Let us proceed. Outside, Naruto had a day to discover a means to address the void of emptiness in Chiruchi's heart. He approached the task with a relaxed demeanor, opting to enjoy a movie with her. The horror film inspired by Frankenstein appeared to be perfectly suited for Chiruchi and her appreciation for Gothic culture. Throughout the film, the monster's visage dominated the entire screen, accompanied by a deafening sound, a standard jump scare that he was ready for. However, Chiruchi was not. She grasped his arm and leaned in, clearly filled with fear. Explosion. That is quite an alarming noise. The design of that creature is quite impressive. Who would have thought that dead people could be scared of ghosts? Nami let out a little giggle. She turned into something like Frankenstein under Mayuri's care when he brought her back to life. Chiruchi was ready for jump scares, but they still managed to scare them every single time. He really thought about whether Chiruchi's hollow looking like a bird had anything to do with it. As they strolled out of the theater, Chiruchi was beaming, but that didn't last long. The pattern kept coming back, almost like there was a voice in her head that wouldn't stop reminding her how meaningless life could feel. She's really caught up in her own thoughts. Oh, you noticed that as well. This person is really overanalyzing everything, trying to figure out the meaning behind every little thing they do. Living with Mila Rose and everyone else made her feel like she truly belonged and brought her a lot of joy. At the same time, it gave her a lot of free time, which just made her inner demons even more powerful. Should we just hypnotize her and help her forget? I have a better idea. We put other thoughts in her head. What about sex? Nothing inappropriate. He took Chiruchi's hand and changed direction. We've got a change of plans. What? Where are we? Why don't you join me? Her puzzled expression was met with a sly smile as he guided them onto an unexpected path. Chiruchi was on hold for 15 minutes. The sign that read, Neko Zoo, in English above the door hinted at his change of plans. Just the idea of meeting cats brought a smile to her face. That's really thoughtful of you to remember how much I love cats. Every time you see Yoruichi, you have this predatory look. On top of that, making girls smile is like my side gig. She let out a little giggle. Cats are such adorable little beings. I guess that's why Francesca and I click so well. She's kind of like a cat but in a human body. Without the fluffy ears and tail. Got it. Mila Rose's assets definitely make up for it. They sure do. Just as Chiruchi was about to grab the door, he gently stopped her. Just hang tight for a moment. Why's that? He dashed inside and came back out with a box. She peeked inside, her gaze landing on two sets of innocent golden and green eyes. Congrats, Chiruchi. So, you're a mom of two now. Her face changed from shock to a wide-eyed look. Leader, you can't just throw kitties my way like that. She really loved cats, but nurturing them like Haribel just wasn't her thing. So, just take them out. That should be a piece of cake for the former Espada. His laid-back attitude filled her with dread. Are you really serious right now? The idea of causing harm to those innocent creatures really made her uneasy. Confronting her biggest enemy, Shielapuro felt like a walk in the park compared to hurting the kittens. I'm really serious, Naruto said quietly, drawing her focus back to him. You mentioned that it feels like nothing you do has any meaning. It's like their death shouldn't really mean anything at all. For a moment, they just stood there, with Chiruchi looking at the kittens and trying to sort through her feelings. Leader, It's a request from the guy who saved your life and welcomed you into his family. Just either go for it or wrap it up. Ugh, she muttered. I'll go ahead and take them. He saw her carefully reach out to the box. The kittens, full of curiosity and unfazed by Chiruchi, poked their little heads out even more, their soft mewls persistent and adorable. Her serious look completely fell apart at the sight, giving way to a gentleness that didn't often show itself. The kittens seemed to fill the emptiness she felt, even if just for a moment. You adorable little ones, she finally said, her voice soft amidst the soothing purrs and the gentle movements of the black and gray kittens. It's going to be really strange taking care of you. Naruto found it pretty funny to see her being all tsundere with the kittens. It was important to push Chiruchi a bit out of her comfort zone to help her grow. If she stayed in her comfort zone, she'd just fall back into that feeling of despair. It's likely to have a good effect on her. That's not going to cut it. That's where intimacy plays a role. You keep her wanting you more and more every minute. Nami, you know, sex addiction really isn't a good thing. Sounds like someone has a lot to say, especially coming from someone who's got a date every day. Partner, do you think you're addicted to sex as well? Nope. He just shook his head. For me, it's all about building meaningful relationships. Sex is really just a nice bonus. That's not true. I'm just so over being good at everything. I'm planning to take a week off to hopefully give my skills a bit of a break and let everyone else catch up. Who am I fooling? You'll never be on the same level as me. No one will be. Every day, Rukia had to look at this beautifully crafted message that her friend had left for her. Her roommate had put the message up on her side of the room. You know, this wasn't even the worst part about having Momo Hinamori as a roommate. Rukia had to see Momo give a kiss to Naruto's portrait before heading off to sleep. She found herself watching Momo sleep, all cozy in Naruto's kimono that she had swiped from his room. She couldn't help but watch Momo scribble away in her diary, all while giggling like a total goofball. Momo was such a great friend, fiercely loyal and devoted. You couldn't ask for anyone better. Honestly, she was probably the worst roommate anyone could ever have. So, it's the 8th day. Momo whispered, her eyes filled with affection as she looked at the sketch of Naruto that she had drawn herself. Naruto-kun, could you come back already? Life feels pretty dull without you around. Rukia let out a weary sigh. What is it about him that you love, even with the reputation he's built? There's talk that he's seeing a few third years. Rukia saw Naruto as a fantastic friend because he always looked out for his buddies and had that awesome mentoring vibe. He had managed to single-handedly keep a lot of nobles from picking on Renji, who seemed to find himself in trouble with his sharp tongue every other week. Even though he has a fantastic personality, he just isn't cut out to be a boyfriend because of one big issue, his love for pleasure. Momo looked at Rukia like she couldn't believe how clueless she was. He was using them to sort out the weirdness with his Zanpakuto. That really doesn't help at all. Momo let out a little laugh. Absolutely. He didn't feel anything for them, and they made that pretty clear. Did you talk to them? I've been hanging out with them for the past few days, Momo said with a playful smile. In our little conversations, I found out what Naruto-kun likes in terms of style. Momo quickly yanked out the ribbons that were holding her twin tails together. After a few minutes of styling, she shot Rukia a grin. They all seemed pretty old. Do I seem more mature now? Rukia just didn't know what to say. Just a bit. I'm planning to grow my hair out and rock a single ponytail. Momo chuckled and planted a kiss on Naruto's portrait. Let's get going. Naruto-kun might already be in class. I'm so excited to share my progress with him. Momo, I think your obsession might be a bit too much. This relationship isn't good for you. Even though she knew it might create some distance between them, Rukia decided to share her thoughts to help Momo see that blindly loving Naruto could lead to heartache. The air in the room felt heavy as Momo's eyes lost their spark, a cold vibe surrounding her. How can you say that when you haven't experienced love at all? For Momo, her feelings held a special significance. She felt a warm glow whenever she thought of him, a rush of fear at the idea of anything bad happening to him, pure joy when she was near him or caught a glimpse of his smile. a spark of motivation when she considered impressing him, and a thrilling excitement at the thought of being close to him. He had opened the door for her to experience a whole range of amazing emotions. She'd rather throw in the towel on life than go back to being her old, loveless self. Rukia paused for a moment before saying, "You know, you're right, I've never experienced love or met anyone who has. I still think I can share my thoughts as a friend. So, I can choose to disagree with your opinion and go after what makes me happy." Rukia felt her shoulders sag as Momo kept up her stubborn stance. "I'm from the 78th district. You probably know how wild and intense that area can be. Looking back, it was kind of a fun struggle, stealing food and then trying to survive the chase every day." Rukia's life was really different from Momo's, who seemed to have it pretty easy living with Oba-san and Toshiro. The calm sparked dreams of an exciting life, just like the fairy tales her Oba-san used to share with her and Toshiro. "Let me show you the rest with a drawing." Rukia quickly grabbed the portrait from Momo and started writing on the back of it. She tossed it onto the bed, a proud smile on her face. "Take a look at this." Momo furrowed her brow, glancing back and forth between the surprisingly cute drawing of a rabbit chasing its shadow in a circle and Rukia's sincere eyes. "You messed up my 48th Naruto-kun portrait for rabbits. Why are you being so mean? You know, there's this saying we had in our district, chasing shadows will keep you busy but never give you fulfillment." "I'm not quite sure what you mean. What's the connection between rabbits and shadows for me?" "It's kind of like your obsession with Naruto," Rukia said, clearing her throat. "You'll have plenty to do, but with him, you won't really get anywhere. He sees intimate relationships differently than you do. I can change him," Momo said with a lot of confidence. "I believe my love will change him. I'm here to help. What do you need assistance with today?" After the morning lessons wrapped up, Momo ended up in the cafeteria, surrounded by the sounds of clinking cutlery and the soft chatter of her classmates. Without Naruto around, she felt a big emptiness in her heart. What's up with Naruto-kun punishing me? The table that Momo shared with Renji, Rukia, and Toshiro was pretty much the same as always, with her friends just carrying on with their meal, completely unfazed by her mood. It was obvious that they had gotten used to Momo's outbursts about Naruto's surprise vacation. Momo stared down at her untouched plate, showing just how little she felt like connecting with the world now that Naruto wasn't around. It looked like her appetite had taken a little detour to find him. Toshiro pushed the plate over to her. "Take this chance to work on your Zanpakuto skills. As you grow stronger, his surprise will be even more impressive." Momo's eyes sparkled with a hint of life again. "So, who mentioned that I was training just to impress him?" Renji's laughter spread around the table. "Did you really think we wouldn't notice your late-night disappearances?" Rukia cleared her throat, getting ready to speak. "I didn't." Out of nowhere, the cafeteria went quiet, a heavy silence settling in as an overwhelming reiatsu wrapped around everyone, making it hard to breathe. Rukia watched a group of 4 Shinigami enter the cafe. The 2 at the back were unremarkable, but the 2 Shinigami heading the group piqued her interest. An elderly guy with a thick gray mustache and long gray hair. His reiatsu was restrained, unlike the young man, but his Shinigami clothing belied his prominent standing in the Gote 13. A captain. With the commander was a gray-eyed young guy, cold and aloof, whose reiatsu was so powerful that it terrified everyone in the restaurant. It wasn't meant for anyone in particular, his very presence was threatening enough. The elaborate Kenseikan headgear nestled in his long black hair reflected his regal background. "Why is he coming to us?" She held her breath, praying the Shinigami would walk past her table. Contrary to her expectations, they came to a standstill before her. "She bears a striking resemblance to her," the old man said, looking down at Rukia. "Forgive the interruption, but student Rukia, you must accompany us to the Kuchiki Manor on urgent business." The mention of the Kuchiki name sent shivers down everyone's back. The nobility of the Soul Society was frequently discussed by their teachers. The Kuchiki clan, one of the 5 great noble families, was tasked with documenting and preserving the Soul Society's history, with its leader serving as captain of the 6th Division. The elderly guy speaking with her was Ginrei Kuchiki, the 27th head of the Kuchiki clan and captain of the 6th squad. Rukia's mind was racing with worry over what awaited her. The Kuchiki's reputation remained untarnished, but her academy experiences had taught her to be skeptical of any noble family. Furthermore, the Kuchikis had considerable power, to the point where she doubted Naruto would dare to insult them. "Girl, did you not hear Captain Kuchiki?" demanded one of the hefty men who accompanied Ginrei Kuchiki. "Rise and follow us." Rukia attempted to speak, but her words were stifled by a knot of worry and unspoken questions. She stood up, but her legs trembled, like a lamb encircled by wolves. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of deliberate footsteps broke through the silence. Rukia turned to face the intruder, her eyes wide. A familiar man walked into the cafeteria at a leisurely pace, almost disdainful of the imposing figures that dominated the place. "You all call yourself nobles and conspire on a young lady. Pathetic." She was mistaken about Naruto. "You are interfering with aristocrats' missions. Not to mention the head of the Kuchiki family. Do you have a death wish or something? You survived Captain Soy Fan, but you died this time. Not even Captain Shiba can help you today. Die a miserable death, you fucking bastard." Almost single students shared the same sentiments. However, what everyone expected to be Naruto's demise was simply amusement for him. Byakuya, the embodiment of stoic nobility, finally acknowledged Naruto with an expression of complete apathy. "You are from Rukongai." Ginrei Kuchiki looked at Naruto with slate-gray eyes full of wisdom suiting his age. The appearance of the black cat at his side, rather than the man, prompted a glimmer of identification. Rumors of a student battling with Soy Fan 3 months ago spread like wildfire. However, he preferred to remain silent, even preventing his subordinates from acting. How could he pass up an opportunity to assess Byakuya's maturity? Naruto clicked his tongue. "Commoners are nobility. How does one's origin change? It's not like noblemen spit gold or bleed silver." Yoruichi's whiskers twitched as she struggled to hold back her laughter. She pawed his leg to catch his attention and made her most angry cat look. She and Byakuya had a respectful competition as masters of Shunpo. Even her mischievous nature found it distasteful to antagonize the strong Kuchiki clan pointlessly. Byakuya gently furrowed his brow. "I do not have time for you. Do not interfere in matters beyond your position." Naruto folded his arms defiantly across his chest. "It is my concern if it involves my pals. I'm trying to say, you aren't taking Rukia anywhere." He was aware that Byakuya had come to accompany Rukia to her sister, Hisana. Still, he had to punish the noble grandpa and grandson for frightening his companions. They could have been more direct about everything, but they had to appear mysterious and fear their tiny little hearts. "Look at how petty you are acting. I love it." Byakuya covered the distance in an instant, his figure a blur as he attempted to deliver a paralyzing hit to Naruto's throat, an assault that struck with ease, according to the assembled throng. When Naruto's afterimage faded away, the reality became clear. His natural appearance was casually leaning against a table with his friends, a half-eaten dumpling in hand. "Delicious. It tastes like victory." Byakuya's mask of indifference wavered briefly, revealing a spark of surprise in his eyes. He was a captain candidate with exceptional shunpo. He was irritated because a student had perfectly anticipated and averted his attack. "You aren't all talk, Naruto-kun." Momo's eager voice interrupted Byakuya. Momo hugged Naruto from behind, ignoring the mounting tension in the cafeteria, and clung to him. "You're back, Momo. Now's not the time." "I do not care, Naruto-kun. I haven't seen you for a long time." Naruto's gaze softened as he saw the slight tremor in her voice. "I promise I'll be with you after I settle this." Momo retreated to a seat, drawing Rukia alongside her with a sigh of disappointment. "It'll be fine now that Naruto-kun is here." Rukia responded with a soft shake of her head. "Naruto, you do not need to fight anyone. I'll go with them." She couldn't accept his assistance following her earlier talk with Momo. It felt wrong to accept his help. Instead of responding to her genuine request, he raised his hand and roughly tapped her on the head. "You don't even know what they want from you, idiot." Rukia's eyes stung from the unexpected rebuke. She gave him a belligerent look, the kind that would signal war if glances were weapons. Stop making decisions for me. I can handle it. Rukia received another smack to the head, this time from Toshiro. You were shivering like Momo when she peed the bed. Be quiet and let us assist you. Toshiro grinned at Naruto, leaving Momo and Rukia dumbfounded with just a few words. Naruto, I'm with you. Renji locked his gaze on Toshiro. Damn, small man, I'll look pathetic if I don't man up. He raised his Zanpakuto as a trophy. I'm also in. Momo couldn't help smiling. It's an opportunity to showcase Tobiame's power. Rukia appeared overwhelmed. No, she was overwhelmed. Her friends being by her side right now warmed her heart. You all. Meanwhile, Byakuya was staring at Naruto. He had always ignored his friends, but he had never been ignored to this extent by anyone, especially a student of the Shino Academy. Someone with your strength does not belong in the academy. Your Shunpo alone qualifies you to be a seated officer. I'm graduating next week and becoming a battle healer. Battle healer. Byakuya's eyes sparked with comprehension. You're the student who fought Captain Soy Fan. I did. I'll also fight you if you quit being so secretive about this crucial matter. Captain Soy Fan can vouch to my strength if you do not believe I am worthy. He challenged Byakuya to a duel in a threatening tone, as if he could intimidate the vice captain into giving up, or possibly provoke him into accepting his challenge. Byakuya's Reiatsu blazed in reaction, securing Naruto and only him. I will accept. Byakuya, keep your cool. Remember why we came here, Ginrei said, putting an end to the escalation. He regarded Naruto calmly. You and your pals are invited to Kuchiki Manor. Everything will be revealed there. I was looking forward to. Yoruichi nibbled his leg and stared up at him. He feared she might become enraged if he continued to provoke Byakuya. Okay, Captain Kuchiki, I am passing up the opportunity to put your grandchild to the test because I respect you. Your legacy throws a long shadow, which every Shinigami here, including myself, aspires to overcome one day. And, young man, we will be members of the same group. It is best for everyone to avoid unnecessary blood spills. Naruto nodded and hopped down from the table, offering a hand to Rukia. It'll just be me, Rukia, and my cat. Momo's look was like a razor against Naruto's back. It required a lot of bravery to disregard his yandere little friend and stick to his resolve. An older sister yandere in the living world. A younger yandere from the Shinigami realm. A yandere born from your soul, the same age as you, was discovered in the hollow world. This cannot be a coincidence, partner. I am a yandere magnet. Yoruichi's feline body slipped smoothly onto his shoulder, her rough tongue tenderly caressing his face in an unusual show of thanks. Thanks, he returned her adoration with a kiss on the forehead and a delicate chin scratch. You owe me one for this. The roads going into the eastern 6th Ward, known as the aristocratic quarter, were lined with mansions, high-class restaurants, and elite businesses. This district, which was inaccessible to the general public without an invitation or formal authorization, was one of the Seoul Society's most secure locations. A group of 6 people made their way along one of these exclusive roads. At the front, 2 powerful Shinigami, embodying the ideal of stoic protectors, cleared the way. Ginrei Kuchiki and his grandson Byakuya followed closely behind, stately and serene, exemplifying aristocratic pride. They were accompanied by 2 aspiring Shinigami from Rukongai, and a cat with shimmering black fur was silently behind them. Byakuya kept his customary calm demeanor, but a glimmer of anxiety flickered in his eyes, the result of the silver-haired youth's interactions with his sister-in-law, who resembled his wife. Rukia, your legs seem a bit wobbly. How about I carry you? Rukia, watch out, you're gonna fall. You really think I can't carry you? Rukia, why aren't you speaking up? Every comment from Naruto made Rukia's cheeks turn an even deeper shade of red. Naruto was really enjoying himself and felt a sense of relief that Toshiro, Momo, and Renji weren't around. He had the perfect chance to really let loose with his playful teasing of Rukia, with no one around to interrupt him. At last, Rukia hit her breaking point and swung her fists, connecting with nothing but empty air. Can you just give me some space? But we're friends, Naruto said with a grin, easily hoisting her up onto his shoulder. A good friend helps you with your struggles, but a great friend takes them on for you. I think I'm a pretty good friend. From this new spot, Rukia noticed she was looking down at Byakuya instead of up, which was a nice change and made her rethink her irritation. Taking in the scenery, are we? Your voice, Rukia said, with a slight frown. I'm pretty sure you use it to charm women. I'm not looking for it to charm women. I've got a charm that can melt any heart. Rukia playfully messed up his hair. It seems a bit unbelievable, but I don't get the sense that you're being dishonest. His steady confidence really influenced her judgment. It wasn't just blind confidence, it came from his strong bond with Tyr and the rest of the crew. I'm just being honest. Rukia folded her arms. There's this girl who's head over heels for you. So, what do you think the chances are that you'll trade in your playboy lifestyle for a serious relationship with her? Wait, are you being serious? Serious. Like, I could see myself spending forever with her, kind of serious. He tossed his head back and bumped into her belly. Are you referring to Momo? The quiet that came after his question was just golden. She underestimated him, thinking he had no clue about Momo's feelings. He let out a laugh. I get the feeling that Momo is a bit obsessed with me. She tried to get him in a chokehold, hoping to make him pass out. Well, she really didn't do well at all. She just couldn't make any headway against his stronger physical resilience. So, you just stood there and did nothing. I didn't notice how her feelings had shifted until it was too late, he said, letting out a sigh. A sweet, innocent attraction that turns into something complicated. It really pulls at my heartstrings. Still, I can't help but cheer for her success. His words were so refreshingly honest that they left her momentarily speechless. How can you say that when you're the one she cares about? Well, if that's how it is, then I'll gladly take her love, he said, nodding seriously like he was making a promise. I can definitely save another maiden's heart with what I've got right now. Rukia clenched her jaw. Why can't you just be happy with Momo? Nope, I really care about a lot of amazing women in my life. Rukia, check that out. Doesn't that spot look so elegant? In front of them stood a lavish estate, its grand roof reaching high above the nearby buildings. This estate really stands out from the usual architecture of the Seoul society. While most places have that high-end-era Japan vibe, this one feels like it was built to tower over the other noble mansions. It felt like the estate owners were claiming to be the kings and queens of the neighborhood. It's just too much. Naruto was expecting the Kuchiki duo to show up at this grand estate. They decided to head over to a manor right across from it. The Kuchiki manor was definitely fancy, but it just couldn't compete with the impressive style of the place next door. He gave Byakuya's back a light tap with his sheathed zanpakuto, just teasing him a bit. Byakuya turned around, looking a bit annoyed but trying to keep it together. Please, don't touch me. It was my zanpakuto. Why would I want to touch another guy? Ugh, that's really gross. Byakuya shot him a sharp, steady look that seemed to cut right through. One day, that mouth of yours is going to take on more than it can handle. That's right, Rukia added, agreeing with Byakuya. Just be happy with one loving woman. Why do you have to turn it into such a complicated mess of relationships? He shut his eyes, a small smirk playing on his lips. People often laugh at the king's dreams, not realizing they're the start of something great. I came into this world to be a king. That's not right. You were meant to be a god. His dignified voice made Rukia realize that his ambition wasn't just foolish or arrogant, there was something deeper beyond his hedonism. Thinking back on Momo's comments about him using those women to get what he wanted really made her feel even more certain about her thoughts. Alright, you win, Rukia said, giving in to his charming words. I really gave it my all. Now it's just you and Momo. He nodded in response to her concession and then shifted his focus back to Byakuya. Do you remember that estate we checked out earlier? I'm curious, who owns it? Are you up for satisfying the curiosity of the guy who managed to outshine you in Shunpo? The head of the 5 great noble clans, Byakuya said, his voice icy and laced with disdain. Tsunayashiro clan. Naruto raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised. Who is it? The nobles would often come to brag about their clans, but none of the Tsunayashiro had ever done that. He had no idea that a clan called Tsunayashiro was even a thing in the Soul Society. Rukia playfully pinched his ear. Didn't your sensei ever mention the 5 great noble clans? I catch some Z's during lectures. Rukia let out a tired sigh. With Momo and Renji not around, his fun-loving way of doing things really bumped heads with her usually serious attitude. You know the Tsunayashiro clan. They're like the top family out there. They're a bit wild. What do you mean? Rukia said, letting her voice linger for effect. They get rid of their weaker members, claiming it's all about survival of the fittest. That's quite an intense motto. I heard that their clan's Zanpakuto, Enrakyoden, is super powerful. Oh, and it's got a curse on it too. None of the family members use it. We don't really care about the curse because we're like a walking plague. No, I'm the storm that's coming. Hold on a second, partner. Did you go for the short hair because you wanted to cosplay as Virgil? Excuse me, could be. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I'm thrilled you watched the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe for even more exciting content coming your way soon.